Shallowing is one of the buzzwords in coaching and golf swing circles at the moment, but should you even concern yourself with shallowing? And by the way, what is it? Hi, I'm Peter Knight, and I've created this channel, Peter Knight Golf, to help you play the best golf you can. And today we're going to look at the downswing path, or movements in the downswing path, what that term shallowing actually means, what you should do, and whether or not you should even be concerned with it. So when the club swings back and through, if we watch the movement from side on, the club's path sort of moves on an angled path back and down. Now, as the club swings back, my arms are going to lift a little bit and my body's going to turn. Now, ideally, when I create that motion as a blended movement, mostly of body turn, my arms and club swing on a fairly uniform path going back. If when I swing the club back, I don't lift my arms at all, or if I exaggeratedly lift my arms, then the path is not correct. Now, in the downswing part, as the club swings down, we want it to swing down on much the same path that it swings back on. Now, if the club swings down steeper than that path, or shallower than that path, then the orbital path of the club is going to be disturbed. If I swing, the vast majority of golfers slice, and so their swing path in the downswing tends to be a little bit too steep and move across to the left. Now, this idea of shallowing, if the club swinging down moving this way is shallow, then shallowing is bringing the club to a point where it feels like it's working so almost underneath what it should be doing. Now, for a slicer, that's absolutely perfect. If you happen to hit the ball with an inside-out swing path already, it's going to be disastrous. My swing path, and you'll see it when I hit a shot later, my movement, or my habitual movement, is for the club to work this way a little bit as I start the downswing. Now, for me, shallowing will be a disaster. I definitely don't want to do it. So let's have a look at the components, the things that I need to do in order to get the club to swing on the correct path. As the club swings back and through, I mentioned your body's going to turn and your arms will lift a little bit. When I get to the top of my backswing and begin my downswing, my arms need to come back down again. Now, when I talk about arms, I'm talking about upper arms. So from here, if I just lift my upper arms a little bit, you can see my arms are moving maybe through about 20 degrees. So if they're moving and lifting about 20 degrees as a combined movement, a coordinated movement in the backswing, then the movement in the backswing smooth. In the downswing, I need them to go the other way. And I also need that movement to be a coordinated movement. So as the club swings down, if I turn before my arms start to drop, it swings the club out away from me and across. So there's my slice or my pull. If I drop my arms too much, which is typical of how you would practice shallowing, and if you're a slicer, that's actually not a bad thing, to exaggerate it, I mean. So my arms are dropping, again, they're only dropping around about that 20 degrees as my body's turning. The combined movement or coordinated movement means that my club and my arms swing on a good path or correct path in the downswing. When I begin my backswing, and through the end of the backswing and start of the downswing, when the club's moving very, very slowly, they're the only two opportunities I have during the swing to manipulate the movement or change the movement. Now, so when I swing the club back, if I allow my body to turn freely and my wrist to hinge, I'm likely to get the club moving back correctly. When I swing the club back and through, if we look at, say, the correct path of the club and the correct path of my hands, if you imagine a line running from my hands and under my arms, then as my arms swing back, my body's turning and my hands should swing on that path. It's going to be similar coming down. It'll be slightly above it coming down, which is not to create a slice. My swing, the club path, on the other hand, as it goes back and through, stays on a fairly uniform angled path as it moves back and through. So if I play a shot, As the clubs went back and through, the path stayed fairly uniform. As I mentioned earlier in the video, my movement has a slight little movement at the top of the swing. Doesn't affect the shot at all, but I definitely, for my case, I don't need to think about shallowing. Shallowing could be for you though if you're a slicer. If it is, put a little bit more emphasis on the feeling of your arms dropping at the very start of the downswing, which, as I mentioned just a moment ago, is what is the only time you can really change the swing at all as it starts down. Don't exaggerate it massively. It's almost more like a falling motion. If you find that information's helpful to you and you'd like to connect, say, online through coaching through Skillist, then click the link in the description below and we'll look to be able to help you even more with your golf.